Hello and welcome, Cosmic Quantum Travelers. Another installment of a cosmic energy update from me. There's so much going on. I've made notes over the last few days, but I can't quite, again, fit it together in a comprehensive post, and it would literally be too long. So let's hope I can make this relatively concise. Okay, I'm going to try, because there's a lot to go through. Also pre-recording this just to avoid any more AI interference type issues, which brings me to the first point. A lot of interference playing out, obviously, of where we're at, okay? It's the ultimate crunch point. It's the opposing energies coming to a head. But we're not fighting, we're not pushing, we're not resisting, we're just standing tall and firm in our truth. Okay, in the frequency of peace and love and freedom and unity and miracles, okay, such as what could happen, the police coming to their senses and standing with the people, okay, and this is very possible. And they're already, I think the Ottawa police chief has already resigned. If those are true accounts, it's very hard to discern what's right, what's true and what's not, because of the compromised media, obviously. So it's best to, always in general to check out different sources instead of just going with, the first one to get a better picture and overall better comprehensive overview. Anyway, what I can see happening is in Canada, for example, which our focus is on at the moment, we are winning. I mean, we've already won, okay? I think we've been over this, at least people who've been following me, as in at a higher dimensional level, this has already been accomplished, okay? All the karma of humanity is lifting, everything is being purified, all the distortions, all the interference, all lower timelines and frequencies, okay? We are not leaving it behind. It's been dissolved and dismantled and neutralized, okay? So that's a lot of what's been happening. And this is why also the energies are so intense. I mean, it's all simultaneously happening. It's the purification, it's the upgrades and the activations. So it's all happening at the same time, where before we would maybe go through phases, longer phases of clearings, and then the integration, and then the upgrades, the expansion, the contractions. Now it's very much all the time, all of these fluctuating between the different states, which is why it's so important to stay in the flow state, okay, to not judge, to just, anything that's out of alignment is going to be very obvious and visible now. So there's not much to figure out. There is, but not, it's not going to take a lot of effort because it's kind of in your face. So just flow with the expansion and the contractions, so the happy and the depressed feelings and the heaviness, but then also the expansions. Don't hold on to the good or resist the bad. You just flow with it, okay? We don't hold on to anything or resist or fight anything. That is how this flows the easiest and the quickest, okay? The non-resistance is the 0 point state, where of course we have preferences, but you just allow the highest possibilities and the highest frequencies and realities to open up when you try not to control what is happening, okay? And you act via higher self-guidance instead of maybe fearful trauma response, okay? So when you feel triggered, take a step back, especially at the moment, a lot going on. A lot of people like me, especially, like, for example, I am kind of staying away from people doing a lot of work, obviously. There's a lot fast going on the grids. Last push through. I know we're really tired, but it's about, steady wins the race. Look after yourself, take it easy. Self-care is a priority, because this whole transformation is happening through our bodies, which we can feel. So the purification and the DNA upgrades and, the plasma light body upgrades. And it's also simultaneously happening to the planet, because altogether we are making up the planetary body. So whenever we do work on ourselves, we also do work on the planet. I just want to say at this point, I have, as I said before, I'm guided to bring in another activation for the 22nd. After seconds, so we're just tuning into the very potent energy of that day and this time period now anyway. Okay, this is already open. I think we can feel it. And it's not really about a date. We are not focusing on linear, but it's more like obviously a collective focus on the day. There is a lot coming in the activations that's opening up, but we don't want to just, kind of expect something to happen on a day and then be disappointed if nothing as in the physical, obvious in front of us happens. But a lot will and is already happening. Okay. And we can also see physical evidence of these changes happening. Okay. Yeah. So to come back, so the activation will be basically Ascension activation, diamond grid activation. There is so much going on within the grids. There are new platinum diamond portals being opened, and they're helping us to blitz purify everything that is still remaining that needs to be cleared for the new to come fully online, which it's already in place, but the old needs to switch fully off for the new to fully take over. Okay, so the new realities are already online, fully online, the one true organic ascension reality. That's why we can see the shifts and all these artificial timelines that are quantum collapsing are coming up to reveal the distortions and the corruption and all of that, because it needs to be seen. People need to see for themselves, because obviously telling them hasn't worked. So we will all see for ourselves. Everybody's giving themselves away. Masks are coming off. The final veils are lifting. It's happening. It's already in progress. I think we can see this. It's all collapsing. They have done everything they could. The more they try and control, the quicker this goes. The less we try and control, the quicker this goes. Okay. And that doesn't mean we don't do anything. But again, we do it by divine guidance and not through fear responses. Okay. Because they're usually ill-guided and they usually lead to not so great outcomes. Okay. Higher self-guidance feels different. It's not constricted. It's like, even though you might need to do something that you are a little bit afraid of, or need to, overcome some, discomfort within yourself, it's still different when you know, oh yeah, I need to do this. I know this is going to be great. Because when we overcome a big fear, also we quantum jump, but it's like an excited nervousness, not a constricted fear nervousness, if that makes sense. Excitement and fear are very similar, but they obviously have a difference in frequency. So anyway, the activation is going to be on the 22nd at 22:22 UTC. I'm going to include a link, so you can check that out if you want. As always, as soon as I post this, the activation is open. These are collective activations. We anchor into the field. These are very important keys and codes coming online for our full ascension now. Out of this matrix for all of humanity, 12 strand crystalline DNA activation plus 15, so the 12 physical strands plus 13, 14, 15, and then the pending, ultimately the divine template of the 144. Okay, it's the full template that we are activating, but obviously it's not all activating in one moment. Okay, although it might be for some of us, but everybody's at a different stage still. Okay. But ultimately, we are transcending fully free in 4D, and as a collective have already 12-strand DNA access. It's just about bringing this fully online, because we've just been clearing a lot of that stuff. But this has all been happening over the last few months. That was also part of the activation. See, and obviously what's happening within the field in general, of what's coming in, what's available. So with the activations, we amplify and we direct these activations and empower them, really anchor them into the field on behalf of all, because they really go out, especially to those closest to us, family, friends, soul groups as well. So it's a lot more than just the people really taking part. And obviously it's also into the grids, because there's a lot happening right now in the grids. And despite some interference trying to play out, we are doing really well. We need to be still alert, obviously, but I hope we can all feel we're winning this. Okay, we're good. There's no way back. Okay, there's no way back. we're waking up, the spells of forgetfulness are lifting. We've been clearing a lot of black magic, the black magic grids, black magic, sorcery, spells, curses, especially over the last week with the last activation. So again, thank you for everybody who took part in this. And yeah, this continues on because again, it's not just those days of the activation or the activation within itself, although it is most powerful the 3 days before and after, especially. And but the field, you know, and the activations continue long after that. So tune in, it's already open, especially powerful, obviously, within the hour as we go live. But also if you see this afterwards, please tune in. It's active and it's by conscious intent of connecting, okay? And as always, please do give a donation if you can, because this is all I'm offering at the moment, really. And, you know, what I exist upon, as in this is my only income, are really the donations from these activations, because I haven't been offering private sessions. I've been guided to fully focus on a grid work, gate work, and these activations since the end of September. So anyway, thank you so much for the ones who have supported me and who get this. And again, if you can't make a donation but want to take part, you are also welcome. But even, you know, sometimes €3, I am very grateful for, you know, I can then feel it really comes from the heart, because it is about energetic exchange and understanding the value and what it takes for me to hold this. Because it's not just that moment, it's a whole field, it's a whole ride. And it's very powerful for a personal level and as well as collective, but it really supports you on your ascension journey. And I know from the feedback, it is very powerful. So anyway, so the grids at the moment, we are anchoring really powerful platinum diamond light, which is really helping with the clearing and neutralization of all the alien negative machinery and technology. Mind control, psychotronic weaponry, scalar weapons, scatter technology, all of that stuff. The also within us, the AI signals, AI materials, black goo from the grids within us, graphene, all of that stuff. Okay. It's all being cleared, neutralized, full clearing out. This is really, as I said already, we are already 2.5 weeks into the event in progress, okay? This is purifying to such an extent that I see then for the final purification when it's been blitzed, so to say, okay? But this is already, we're already at the point where, as I already said, we're almost done. But if you think in general, you know, what is a week or 2 weeks in the grand scheme of things, of talking of millions and billions of years, this has already been, you know, in the grand scheme of things been going on. So be patient, understand it's divine timing. It's about frequency. Okay, I'm also tired of this, believe me. It's taken a lot. It's taken all we had and some more, but we can do this, okay? They're losing their cool. They're losing control. It's all collapsing. So notice, rest in that knowing. And from that 0 point field is where we co-create and collapse realities, okay? Not by resisting or fighting anything or demonizing, okay, or of fear, but from the knowing that everything is going to be more than just okay. We don't know exactly how long and what's going to happen in the meantime, but we keep focusing on the end result, okay? And anything in between, we understand that it's serving a higher purpose. Trust the plan. It's a trust in yourself. It's a trust in God. And really also overcoming now the remaining, it's another big theme right now, overcoming the remaining mind control programming and deeply, you know, had like reversed way of seeing things, the inversions within the consciousness and the negativity, because it's so ingrained in us. And it's also part of the kind of spiritual PTSD, as I call it, because we kind of, you know, so used to kind of our hopes being dashed. And, you know, it's like, when is it our time? When is it our time? And it's, you know, just a lot that's been thrown at us. And of course, we're tired and it's hard to keep the hope. And it's like we've so been programmed into negativity that also the whole truther movement has been really been used against us, because now people are really so paranoid that they don't even believe good news when they see it. And that's also though down to, again, the programming. And it's also down to certain things triggering trauma responses within the people. And then they kind of react very emotional instead of more from an observer perspective, which is all fine because it's just all being purged right now. But just be aware of where we might not be fully open-minded, because it's very important right now to see, you know, to get out of the fighting the systems or anything or the evil, okay, which is really an absence of goodness. You know, there's a difference of fighting and just discerning and saying no and standing firm in our truth, because that's how we collapse it, not through fighting. We've tried this for millions of years. Okay, we tried everything. We're coming up with a formula right now how to fully reconcile it. And it's not through fighting as I see it. It's a fighting spirit. It's a no, not okay, but it's not like, you know, from an angry, hating, you know, perspective that hates the person that is hurting them, or, you know, these people and beings that have been, you know, doing very bad things. That goes without saying. But ultimately, we have to now transcend the remaining unforgiveness and resentments, because that's what holds these realities in place. I've been clearly shown that. That's why the 0 point is so important. Doesn't mean we don't have discernment. Okay, they're being held responsible, but we can only get there as we fully release the debt. Okay, which is the blaming. Okay, because this is debt forgiveness. This is part of debt forgiveness, as I'm seeing it, and I've been shown a while ago. Is that when we truly forgive those that have done us harm, because we have also done other people harm, so we also forgiving ourselves and all others. Okay, everybody is being forgiven. That's the release of karma, so we can move on to all new realities. Again, doesn't mean that they get away with it. Okay, it's both. But it's very important, and it really comes back to us personally, if we can fully stop judging and forgiving ourselves, because these are all parts of us, of the great I am. It really is. Okay, we can't get around that. Right? Also read a post I posted earlier on the 17th, which is called Changing Realities by Changing, you know, the way you think. Because it's very important right now. We need to be really open-minded. We need to stop compartmentalizing, especially within the spiritual community. Okay, I need to say this now, because it came up and it's very relevant. It was about the Super Bowl. Okay, I posted this. I basically, as part of the last activation, okay, we cleared, I was already guided the day before to go and clear the Super Bowl area, okay, the grids there. And also during the activation, we cleared more, and afterwards I was also guided to clear more. And then I was guided to, because I could see we were totally clearing, like collapsing timelines there, and preventing what usually happens there to take place. That's what I was shown. And then before I was going to bed, I was just checking the Super Bowl halftime show, because that's usually what's connected to these ritualistic, you know, symbolism that takes place, that is being shown, just to see. But I was really objective. I was kind of hoping maybe the stage goes up in flame. But anyway, I didn't know who would be there, whatever. So I was pleasantly surprised, okay, by the music and the stage. And I knew that the kind of middle piece with this Kendrick Lamar person, that was a bit off for sure. But generally, I just got a general confirmation from the whole thing. Okay, I read things differently, and it's generally a feeling. Also, the costumes of Mary J. Blige and so forth that were connected with this platinum diamond light that we were anchoring there. So anyway, everything together in a very celebratory joy feeling I got out of that. That was a confirmation for me, because I could see that instead of them using our energies to siphon them to feed their fallen timelines, we were hijacking the whole field, and all the people with higher soul, you know, higher self-agreement, were anchoring so much light in there. Okay, we are blasting and flooding the grids and tunnel systems underneath, and totally cleared that, because it's an important grid point as well, Malibu and so forth there in California. So that whole area needed to be cleared anyway. All right. So anyway, so the Super Bowl, the way I perceived it, the halftime show, I liked it. I like Dr. Dre. I do like 50 Cent. I like Eminem. I know some of his songs are crap, and his whole kneeling down was also off, okay? But what I want to say is I was willing to look at it from an open mind. I got a very good confirmation out of it, but also on top of what I already saw, okay? So for me, it had a different context, but I didn't expect to enjoy it, okay? I expected to see kind of, it being off. Anyway, so I could see the shift in timelines through the event, because it just looked to me that it wasn't full of the imagery, although there was some of it. And anyway, later on, I had people, I think 30 people unfriended or unfollowed me. I mean, fine. I really don't care ultimately, because I'm not here for getting followers. I'm here to speak the truth. Okay, that's all I'm interested in, ultimately. And what I say sometimes feels like I'm giving out, and people don't, get triggered and don't like it. But I'm not here to just tell you, we are all so great, everything is perfect. No, I'm here to anchor the new instruction sets for the consciousness that gets us to the new realities, which is based in unity consciousness. It's not based in polarity. I'm here to unify the polarities within the Trinity. Okay. I'm carrying the Trinity codes as we all are. And this is what we're anchoring. And that's the integrated polarities, where we don't just react to, for example, seeing this, okay, this halftime presentation, and kind of have kind of a veil over it, because of our beliefs are telling us of what we're seeing. Because some people were just didn't even want to look at the thing and said, no, it's full of symbolism. I mean, that's just ignorance. Sorry, we can't do this like that. Okay. And then talking about devil's music, I mean, are we back in the 60s where the parents tell us that Elvis music, Elvis's music is devil's music? I mean, the whole devil evil thing, it's like when we demonize things, it's really our own unacknowledged shadow aspects projected outwards. And I get that people don't get that. All right. But ultimately, the devil to me is our own unacknowledged shadow aspects. All of this stuff ultimately is. I'm not saying that I don't also then turn into demons and attachments and all of that thing. Yes, I do. But ultimately, the only way out is through the whole integration of polarities and shadow work. That's how we get rid of the devil. It's ultimately in an imagination of we trying to, put it into a symbol and have something to blame outside of us. But ultimately, it's still projected outwards. Okay. These are all shadow aspects of the consciousness. And when we overreact to these things and don't even want to look properly from a, we always have obviously subjective, viewpoints. There is no objectivity as such. But as much as we can with an open mind, that's what's needed now, because we need to be able to see, the governments, maybe they're coming around. The police come around. Do we want war, or do we want people to come around now? Do we want people to change? Do we want things to change? So just have an open mind. And it's not even about who's right or wrong. I really don't care about that. I care about changing reality, overwriting it, okay? Not being right. It's not what it is about. We need to have an open mind, because otherwise we're part of the problem. And, it's important that we can talk without, obviously getting disrespectful. And of course, if somebody is too far off with the frequency, that's another thing, because I came into the field with the frequency of, yay, it was kind of too positive. And then the opposite polarity comes up, the negativity, because I keep seeing this in the field. And it goes, no, that's not like this. It's not that positive. No, calm down a notch. It's not like that. It's not as great as you think it is. That's really what the field keeps telling us. And there are a lot of people from this spiritual community who are still in this fighting mode and still see everything is evil. And that needs to be transcended right now in a really big way. Because if you keep feeding into right and wrong, black and white, and good and evil, which is just polarization, it doesn't leave all the different, space for all the different nuances and levels of multidimensionality, where it's not just black and white, then you keep recreating polarized realities. And it's just the way it is. We need to transcend it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. But, is there really a person that's just evil? And are people not also maybe changing? That's another thing, Mandela effect. One person maybe was evil is maybe not good. Plus, some of the people we think are bad, they're actually double agents, might be good. And some of the good people, believe me, they're not good. Okay. And no person is ever just got good. And no person is ever just evil. We all have nuances. Okay? So please let us remember this. Okay? And let us look at something before we make up our minds. All right? Very important right now to keep an open mind. Don't get stuck into your belief systems, because again, it's all changing now. When we change in the present, we change the past and the future. Okay, that also means people are changing, because we've gone through this whole stripping of the old templates and blueprints, total strip, okay, for the Christed consciousness to come online collectively. So stop seeing people in the same way and stop seeing realities in the same way. Just be open to be surprised. This is how we co-create this, okay? It's not meaning we should be like living in a fantasy world, okay? I was sharing what I was seeing, maybe not in enough context. Could have done it better, but that's why I'm speaking now about it. But ultimately for me, it was just another confirmation of the amazing work that happened there. Okay, that's not up for discussion, but I'm always open for generally discussion as long as we can be respectful to one another. But please then at least, really know what you're talking about, because otherwise, no. And if people don't have an open mind, then also, no, I'm not really interested. So, because we need to have these discussions going forward. And no, we don't need to agree, and it's not about right and wrong, but we do try and find solutions and to open our minds together, because I've never come across yet one person that I 100% agree with. Thankfully, would be boring. And I constantly expand my understandings and truth. That's why I always say, take what resonates, leave the rest, because ultimately, even what I say, I might sometimes still get it wrong. I do believe most of the time I do have it, I do try to get the highest level of truth. That's why I say I'm anchoring the new instruction sets for the consciousness. But obviously, especially in the past, we all, or it expands, the core of my truth has always been the same. But I also look back sometimes at old posts and say, oh, no, that's not quite true anymore. I would, say this differently, or maybe even some things, no, not true anymore at all. Okay, so we need to leave that open. Truth is not set. Okay, it really isn't. And that's why it's so important to just pick. No one person out there has it all figured out, I believe. I truly don't. And we're all co-creating this together, and we all have some truths. And that's another thing. So even if maybe somebody is compromised, okay, let's say in the spiritual community, I know people are compromised, but I still know they have a lot of wisdom that I sometimes like to listen to. I get bored. I need to listen to something. And, anything I really have learned along the way was mainly from compromised teachers. And also about, because I said before, what I was shown, around 90% of the spiritual leaders have been compromised. Not all of them knowingly. Okay, that's an important point to make again. So some also unknowingly. And obviously the ones who are doing it knowingly are more my issue and our issue here. But anyway, so that's why it's so important to always just take what resonates, leave the rest. And not just because, let's say you think Eckhart Tolle has been compromised. He still speaks a lot of truth. That's why it's important. Just take what resonates, leave the rest. And the same as somebody, like me, just says one thing that you don't agree with. I mean, does it make everything I say wrong? Or also the other way, doesn't make everything right? That's why it's so important to take what resonates and leave the rest, and keep being open for changing your mind and expand your truths, or totally, let them go. Because again, if we want a new reality, we need new ways of thinking, new ways of being, behaving, and acting. And that's what's coming online now, because again, this is also happening at an energetic level. This is basically now a full reset and blueprint completion in progress. Okay, and this is gonna, as I'm seeing it over this next week, super powerfully online. Okay, let's see how far we can freaking fly at this point, because I'm up for flying. Okay, so big miracles. I know we've been hoping this would be happening before. Patience, absolutely needed. It's a virtue, quite literally. And divine timing, trust in the divine timing. Keep going one moment to the next. We need to transcend time. If we want to get out of time, the karmic wheel of time, which we are, we need to transcend time altogether. So these are coordinates, but we don't put all our hope, focus on a date. It can happen any moment in time. And I think we might feel right now that any moment in time, something is going off here, okay? as I see the crystalline core fully activate and magnetosphere going down, as we know, as a solar flash. So new realities, new DNA come powerfully online. We've been purging and purifying the grids, inner outer grids, at a huge way. Powerful plasma waves streaming in, higher heart mind activations, cranial activations, a lot of womb healing as well. That was also part of the activation from last weekend. Nausea, headaches, digestive issues, especially the lower chakras clearing, because it's also the lower dimensions, the lower 3 dimensions as I see it. And again, these are the issues of, the root of the survival that's coming up big, and money, and how to pay your bills, and wellness, health, all of these things. And then the womb area, obviously also for the women, a lot of clearing that needs to happen there, but also for the men, and this is also our creative center, and then obviously our solar plexus area, which is our power center, and the whole area is becoming one really now. So, but it's all being upgraded and clearing and healing. We're really reclaiming and regaining our life force energy, our creative energy. Okay, so that's all coming back online. Also sexual energy, and a lot of clearing has happened there as well, as this all regulates and harmonizes and balances out. And we also have a lot of magnetosphere fluctuations and adjustments, as I've spoken to before. I see this artificial magnetosphere going down. I mean, the whole energetic flow of the earth is shifting along with the pole shift. So from 2 to 4 poles, which I also talked about before. And as these fluctuations are happening with the magnetosphere, we also fluctuate a lot. So this is also a lot about the, going up and down, and this whole bipolar thing going on. And also because we're deeply releasing the core wounds and what's going to come up now with all the revelations, we are releasing this at a cellular level. So you have, activation, everything is great coming online. And then it's like, again, the contraction in the next hour or whatever. And that's clearing the trauma. And then you're like crying again, or, you're just deeply depressed, and then you're, again. And, but it goes very quickly now. Yeah. Before, this has taken months and years and weeks. So I know it's quicker and it's a bit mad, but the more you can be the 0 point, the less it really is an issue. And obviously it's also down to how far along you are on this path. So if you're doing it like me for a few years, it's like, it's just part of the journey really. But I mean, even for me, really tired of it. Right now it's fine. Today, I think we can all on the 17th feel a difference. Although today, because something came in on the 16th, what I could see was basically like a black mass all over the planet. Like it was like black goo, but like a net all over. And we just removed this evening. So that wasn't in the picture before. That just came in on the 16th. No, 17th. Oh, wait, 16th. And then today, already the shift, but that had to be also cleared. And that's also why I feel there was a lot of yucky energy in the field. Anyway, so that's all clearing now. So keep flowing as everything stays so mad. Resist nothing, okay? Not the bad feelings, and also don't hold on to anything, like the good feelings, okay? Just let them flow through you, all right? We're stabilizing, we're harmonizing, and it's all coming to balance. It's just that we literally like face to face, but they're now, because we're not fighting the other energy, okay? We're just standing in our purity of frequency. It literally dissolves the lower realities and frequencies, all of them, because we're not fighting. It's a purity of frequency that overrides the other, because the other has doubt, you see. When we come from a frequency of knowing our truth, because it's our truth found deep within, and not truth that's been told to us, okay? It's the purity of frequency that overrides the lower frequency now. And it just dissolves all of these realities. It's literally quantum collapsing, all the false realities, and especially, again, this false programming, mind control programming, trauma-based kind of MK Ultra programming. It's all clearing, all right? So there are big shifts in the consciousness right now, in the way we see things, all right? Because that's what needs to happen to shift to the new realities. We need to literally reverse from negative to positive polarized thinking, but it's an integrated polarity, because we can't get rid of polarities. but it's not, you know, in conflict with one another. They're integrated through the 0-point field, okay, through the third. That's the tri-wave. It's the polarities integrated through the third energy, which is neutrality, which is divine love. Okay, seeing everything through the eyes of God. We still have discernment. Okay, we don't allow, we don't become complacent. We're not, you know, we don't just let things pass by that are unjust. Okay, never again. Right? We are awake and aware, not woke. That's different. Now, so we're overriding all of them. Then there's also was massive through these diamond platinum trinity portals, which are now been seeing them since 16th. So they are helping really the release also of stuck and fragmented souls. Like there was a mass exodus also over the last 2 days of release of stuck and fragmented souls, soul pieces, body parts, clones, fragments for re-encryption as part of these new diamond platinum trinity portals. And as I see them, they're connected between 3 or sometimes 4 different grid points, bigger grid points within the grids, but you could really ultimately could be anything. So they're just coming up as I'm seeing them, and they're really helping with the whole purification of the grids and shifting it to a tri-wave, and also clearing out the AI, machinery, technology, black goo, all of that stuff, and anchoring the tri-wave. So after all of these purgings, sorry, yeah, also a lot of throat stuff coming up today. As you get ready to speak more and more of our truth. So after all the massive purging, now the golden DNA activates like really powerfully yesterday and today. And it really can also hurt in the body. Okay, so DNA activations also hurt. So many codes and downloads and activations are flooding in now. So we start to feel a shift from the focus of purging to the focus now of the new coming in. Okay, so the main focus up until now the 17th was mainly the purging, and now it's like the new coming online. Now again, the forerunners are leading those waves of energy. So it's not, you know, don't get fixed on dates, and, you know, if you don't feel it yet, be patient. Okay, everybody's in a different space, in a different part of their journey, and we anchor this in waves. Okay, and then that goes out to the collectives. So it's really activating our DNA, our gifts, abilities, remembering, and ascension codes are flooding in now, which is also hence obviously, you know, all interconnected with the full activation of the new realities, because it really is, ascension is polarity integration, which is divine union, heroes gammas. Okay, divine inner union, unifying all these pieces. It's at one moment. And as foreigners now bring this fully online, it goes out to the whole collective. If we may be first and they come after, maybe so. Okay, I can't tell you in regards to how exactly it's going to play out. But ultimately, we're bringing this online for getting everyone out of these artificial realities. And I see over the next week, we should really be done, like this whole interference, artificial realities should be fully done. Please, all right? Again, ultimately, we're not in charge here. We do what we can to help make the magic happen, but divine will, you know, we become a vessel for the divine will, and we also surrender to divine will, all right? And divine timing and a divine plan. Takes a lot of patience and perseverance, never giving up, that's for sure. So another big thing, elemental clearing and re-encryption. It's what makes matter, okay? We are made of the elements, and it's also what literally shape shifts the realities, okay? Massive crystallization process happening, and also at cellular and atomic level, okay? That's why the whole 3D, 4D, old matrix, old realities are being purged and stripped from our bodies, okay? This is why this is so intense. If we would do this any quicker, we would blow our bodies, okay? So we're doing this as easy and gracefully and as quickly as we can, all simultaneously, all right? And bringing as many as we can with us as well. And again, everybody's getting out of this freaking suffering nightmare, even the bad boys and girls. even if they might not like it, you know, and where they may be going. But you get me. Ultimately, it's the release, you know, it's, I mean, you know, even beings that are suffering and are torturing themselves and others, ultimately, it's, what's the word for it? You know, you offer them grace through releasing them back to source, because, I mean, that's just a perpetuation of suffering and trauma and hell, you know. So, and it's just time. We've done this for enough billions, millions of years. Now, all the mind programming and trauma responses are about to fully lift. I think I'm also going to do maybe a light language activation on that separately. I'm waiting for the right moment when it will come in to help just lift that from our consciousness. And there were a lot of distortions, interference playing out in the field over the last few days that we've successfully neutralized, removed, massive victories. Okay, so thank you all so much for doing the work. Okay, everything again is this. You might not even be aware of what you're doing at night and sleep time, your higher levels. Okay, I'm sure you're part of clearing this mess up. So thank you very much. And I have to say, I'm really, really tired of it at this point, because especially when new stuff comes in, especially through like mass activations and meditations and these kind of things. And, you know, the people who are taking part don't know it, but the good thing is now we are reversing everything. So all of these kind of hijacked meditations, okay, where maybe the people who are doing this or holding the field or the beings involved have been using the energies of the group for negative purposes, this is all going to backfire in spectacular it's already backfiring in spectacular fashion. Okay, so we will never, like, they're just not allowed to do this anymore. Because again, it was a big thing also with the black magic and the grids clearing, also was Masonic lodges and dark portals and vortexes and so forth. So more of the activations also that came in. So again, big focus was removal on black goo, AI materials, signals, nanotechnology, graphene, toxins, parasites, all of that stuff, entities. I mean, mass removals. It's just mass. I mean, sometimes you think, is there really, can there even be more? But anyway, but from the way the grids are working and looking in the stargates, it's all cling, 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 cling. I can see the new technologies and the new grids coming online. I see the signs, okay? Mother Arc and Trinity Gate activations were also happening over the last 2 days, especially. And that also helped with, again, releasing those stuck souls and soul pieces and fragments out, so to exit them out, and overstepping also any lower frequency bandwidths and interference patterns still running in frequencies. And also along with it, all these lower creations and beings. Okay, so a whole frequency bandwidths ultimately we are getting, we're clearing out, okay, and reorganizing. So we are anchoring massive amounts of higher frequencies and quanta, because now we have space. That also means we can activate the DNA. It also means more walk-ins, okay? It looks different for different people. It's for us, most of us, higher soul braiding, so higher DNA activation. That means then, you know, our multidimensional self comes fully online, and we're now consciously merging with it, okay? I really feel this whole memory thing. I mean, there's already a lot coming online, but I really feel a whole avalanche coming online, okay, like really quickly now. All right, massive acceleration and full remembering. Okay, and I also see this SD awakening happening now, like ultimately in one moment in no time, everybody remembering from within where we come from, who we are, and what has happened. Okay, but it will be like a distant memory, and then we will be in the new realities, because again, I see this as something not big catastrophic, but more literally it's a consciousness shift, like an awakening, but just at a very collective level. All right, and it's an awakening to our true nature, to at one-ment. This is what we're bringing in here, not just the negative, you know, narratives that have been playing out. That's part of it, but it's not the full view. It's not the big picture. The big picture is us all having co-created this as one, to make these experiences, to learn, to come up, to heal the DNA plant, templates, not just ours, but from all races. This is a whole cosmic reset. It's a whole cosmic ascension. And I have sounds coming in now, okay? Because we are connected, we carry ET races DNA, and as we clear and heal and activate our DNA, they also get the upgrades, okay? So all these imbalances are being, everybody's getting the highest blueprint available at this point. It's a whole reset. That's where we have to totally let go of the past. Everything. Doesn't matter what has happened, obviously it matters, okay? But it's so we could learn. We don't hold on to it to hold a grudge. That's where we need to get over now. The hate, the resentments, the unforgiveness, it needs to go. Really important right now. So also big coming online within the grids, pyramids. So this will be part also of the activation on 22nd. Focus on the Giza pyramid, especially with the pyramid network, crystalline pyramids as well. Okay. Also ancient site and technology, ancient benevolent alien technology, which has been hidden and is within the planet as well, coming online and really taking over and reactivating, not reactivating, it's a new grid, okay? But it's clearing out all of the distortions and bringing all of the, some of the ancient technology online, but also parts, like part of it is all new. So it's kind of both end, all right? So golden crystalline DNA codes, after divine template of the 144 S1 coming online, and also Edenic codes, bliss codes, abundance codes, freedoms codes. Okay, I mean, it's just the different, like I could really feel the abundance codes activating yesterday. There's more to come online, but it's getting better, better and better because the interference is literally, we're breaking fully through all these interference fields, because obviously right now we've been hammered, yeah, to try and bring us down and wear us down and let us give up in the last moment, which of course we freaking will never ever. So, but now is our time, okay, of knowing this. Now we shed that heavy density, because another problem of the whole heaviness and exhaustion, tiredness, part of it is, yes, we anchor higher frequency, okay, it's very exhausting, but then it's also obviously frequency interference of everything that's been thrown at us and literally directed at us. Like look at up targeted individual, look it up, maybe also on Facebook. I once wrote a post about it. All the frequency attacks and weapons, psychotronic weapons they use against us. Plus, the EMFs and all of that crap, and then shadow banning, God knows what else, and then being attacked by, negative energies and lower consciousness through the people close to us, and all of this nonsense. Okay, we've had it all right? And the last step is you just know it for what it is. And you just, okay, I get it. That's what has to play out now. And you just don't get triggered by anymore. That's where I'm at now. Touch wood. I think. So, okay, where we, you can feel a bit triggered, but you just go and release the trigger really quickly now. All right. So we don't, because it's not about not feeling emotions. Again, it's ultimately about alchemizing the emotions. What are you doing with the emotions? Are you transcending it to higher frequency, or do you create more negative energy and add it to the field? Yeah, do we perpetuate it, or do we alchemize it as the alchemists that we are? Because that's another thing, especially to the men. Yeah, I wanted to address this quickly with the ego death. Okay, and there's a lot also in regards to emotions, being maybe, having difficulty expressing emotions or really accessing them. It's ultimately that we are afraid of emotions. Okay, we are afraid to feel them, the depth of them, or that's what we think. But actually what the problem is that we don't know what to do with the emotions, how to properly observe them, not being, then either turning them inwards, maybe when they're not so good, into self-hate, or outwards into aggression towards others, but alchemizing them then into creating great change within and without, ultimately, because as we change, our realities change for us. Okay, we can't change other people, but they're showing us what we still need to adjust. So this is really what it's all about. And this whole integrity right now, where we stop, when we are kind of wanting to maybe, or we catch ourselves blaming or getting triggered or whatever, to just stop, make it a habit to stop and to just sit with it before you might react first. Okay, cultivate that discipline and see where it's coming from. Because when we're judging something on resistance to something or condemn anyone, there's still something that needs to be integrated with them, quite frankly. We can have discernment, we can tell people off or whatever, but being judged or triggered is a different energy. Judgment and discernment is different energies. It's where we're coming from. How are we saying things? It's not that we shouldn't say anything. We should always speak our truth, but how? And sometimes maybe it's also, you're just quiet because it's not literally the right time or right place. But ultimately, the truth, the frequency of truth right now and being our true authentic self, the only reason why we don't speak the truth is because we think we have disadvantages, get rejected or ostracized. I'm at a point where I don't care, literally. If people are offended by my truth, good. Sometimes a little bit resistance in the field being shook up. It's good. It releases it. It resolves it. It needs to be. If we don't talk about it, it cannot be resolved. We can't do suppression, and we can't also overreact and just, throw our toys out of the pram. So it's all about balance, trying to get to a balanced place. But we need to talk about. We need to be able to talk about, like, grown-ups without getting angry. And that's another thing. When does violence happen? It happens when people can't anymore get along with conversation, isn't it? With trying to talk it out. That's when then, oh, okay, let's have a war then. Let's kill each other and see who survives. And they then win. So if we don't want to go there anymore, we need to all learn how to communicate with one another. That starts with us. And I also talk to myself. Sometimes I give out to myself, but in a jokey way. I laugh at myself. Sometimes I say to myself, geez, you were an asshole there. I sometimes get it wrong. I do self-reflection every day for many hours. I mean, this is what I do. I have to come from integrity. Otherwise, there's nothing I have here to say. All right. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect. But I am always open-minded to take on what comes, what is being presented to me in the field. And I know if there's something, then it's also mine that needs to be corrected. Okay. But I still give everybody their piece. And I will also point out when somebody is, projecting or, whatever else, or whatever issue I see within the consciousness still, because it's not as if the problem is just within the masses. It's just a reflection of what we are also having to resolve within the spiritual community, as we know, okay? And we're doing it in a very conscious way. And thank you guys for, keep looking. And again, we all have blind spots. Again, I am not perfect. And whatever I write, I do write for me as a reminder, but also for the consciousness. And as long as we can keep looking and keep adjusting and keep growing and knowing that we are perfectly fine and perfect as we are, but also a masterwork in progress, all of us. And there's no one better or worse or less than another. No one more perfect or less. Okay. And we all have some truths. And we can't just write one person off just because I said something wrong. But it might be sometimes really necessary to distance ourselves from certain lower frequencies now. That's another thing. So as I said, if you come in with a high frequency right now, the negative one will come and try to take you down. You cannot do this right now. You're not doing them or yourself a favor. And we've done this for too long. No more toning down your light and trying to take steps back or letting yourself be dragged down your frequency to meet others. We cannot do this. We're now rising. They will come after, but we have to show them how to rise. We don't do this by hanging on and waiting. No more waiting, no more allowing, no more enabling. Okay, we are here to help and assist. We don't overextend ourselves. Again, it's a balance. We also need to look after ourselves first, because everything comes from here. Okay, and then you can give from an overflowing cup. All right, but we don't fix, we don't rescue. We're not here to fix anyone. Okay, but we're here to assist. But it's like through our own healing, mostly, and then we can assist others, okay? So we also have a lot of blue and white aqua rays anchoring in the mother's blue ray and the Amanta Stargate sites, and they really activate and through us. So it's really also the cosmic quantum tree of life. I really see it all coming online. The perfect proton seed, the cosmic egg, these are all parts of our light body configuration, different templates and blueprints. It's all coming fully online. We've been stripping all this shit away, and we're still finalizing that. Okay, and again, everybody's in slightly different level stage, but it's all being healed. But it can happen, obviously, as we heal, that disease or illness comes up. Okay, there is no right or wrong thing happening. There's nothing that you're doing wrong. Everybody has different things coming up for them. Okay, just really, my suggestion would be really connect also with your body, the healing ability of your body. And it's many things, you know, we might sometimes get, you know, help from the outside, you know, through different professionals. Always trust your intuition, what you need to do, you know, supplements, natural remedies, your own healing hands, and literally praying to source and your team to bring the healing in and believe it. See your body healing. You know, I talk to my body, I talk to my cells, my atoms, my mitochondria. I give my body commands. Okay, and we all can do that. Talk to your body. It's not just for some people. Yeah, we can all do that. And I'm literally here just to remind you of that. So that's why it's so important to connect with our inner self. Also now, with so much going on, you know, when there's so much confusion, that's the thing with the war of information. You don't know what to think and believe anymore. We are being guided back to our heart, because you have to feel the truth, the knowing that arises from within, okay, but also being open to constantly changing our truth. It's both end. You know, you can hold onto your knowing because it's part of our wisdom, but you don't attach to it. You know, you don't like identify with your beliefs, because that's the thing now with the death, the ego death, which especially the masculine is finding hard. It's the whole identification of who we think we are. It's very much connected to our beliefs, or to, you know, the family, or where we live, or the job we have, or how much money we earn. That's all going. We need to let it all go. In order to ascend, we need to be literally, we're all being literally are losing our old identities, all of us, because the old identities mean old realities, and it was never our true self anyway. So what are we holding on to? I know it's the security, I know it's all the programming, but it's like, for example, if the issue is like that you feel low on not having a job, or, you know, not much money and so forth, I know it doesn't make us feel good. Yes, we want to have the freedom and whatever, okay, but ultimately we need to transcend the programming that makes us feel bad because we don't have money, because that's not really worth. And that's another thing, you know, we need to give also the same worth to spiritual things, for example, as we do to, you know, food or a roof over our head, because the spirit is what we ultimately taken from lifetime to lifetime. That's what you want to invest in. That's why I get also sometimes annoyed when so many people don't give a donation towards these activations that are happy to take part. I mean, you don't have to take part. Is that if you can afford lunch, you know, I mean, $5 or $10 or whatever should then also be possible for something that's really helping the ascension and your overall well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I mean, that's the idea, okay? I can't promise exact results because everybody's different, but you get me, okay? It's a general thing that people are very happy to pay for a pair of trainers or lunch or whatever, okay? Physical things, but not for, you know, whatever, an activation or a healing or whatever. And that's an issue if we have that amongst the spiritual community. We need to understand the worth of all of this stuff, okay? Because if we don't, how are the rest? We are creating those new blueprints and programs, okay? So know also your worth of what you're doing, okay? Much more worth than you being top paid lawyer right now, okay? Right now, it might still look better in society, but where we are going, you know, it literally, like, as I said to someone, we're like spiritual billionaires. That's what we are. That's where we're going. We're creating all new worlds. So we need to totally shift our idea of worth and value. Because our gifts, especially for the masculine, it's not about, you know, if you have a nice car or a good job or, you know, a lot of money. Like any enlightened woman is not interested in that stuff and it doesn't impress her. It's about what are the gifts you're here to bring? Is it your art? Is it your music? It's the new blueprints. What does it mean to be a man? Okay, that's your worth. That's your mission right now. And it's very important because obviously all these also iconic programs and so forth, all the control and the patriarchy, it's very much the male generally are more affected, but obviously we all have masculine energies, okay? So it's all affecting us, okay? And we're all going through an ego death, all right? But some of us, you know, have already done more, so to say, and men are just generally more affected right now because the feminine had to lead this also because we hold the space for the ascension, and the woman also, the feminine holds the proton seed. We hold the blueprints for creation within us. And as we heal, though, the masculine also heals, and we are them and they are us. And I've been man in other lifetimes. You know what I mean? It's all the same. Ultimately, we're all just playing a role. And I really have so much compassion for the masculine because you've really been messed with on a really big level. So there's a lot of programming, especially on a mental level, because the masculine are more, you know, generally more mind focused and women more, you know, heart focused emotionally. So we find it a little bit easier to trust our intuitional wisdom and men more their logical sense. So it's a total shift because we need to, the new is being led by the heart. It's not that the mind plays no role, it's equal, but it's just the heart needs to lead, because if the mind leads, that's the kind of realities we have now. Okay, that cannot happen. All right. So anyway, just to finish it, also what we have been going on, purification, balancing of our bloods, okay, which affects everything else, retrieving our solar dragon, king and queen aspects and our solar diamond rainbow blueprints. So as I said, it's a whole reset of the blueprint and finalized now. Again, it's obviously been going on for months and there are different levels to it, but this is now powerfully, especially the diamond symbology and energy and the codes coming in very strongly over the last week. Womb healing, I already said that, perfect proton seed and quantum cosmic egg and tree of life, which is also a part of the activation. If you want to know more about them, look it up on Ascension Glossary, okay, ascensionglossary.com. It's a good little Ascension library website. Always take what resonates and leave the rest with everything, okay? And you don't always need to understand everything, and it's more an essence. I mean, I've read for years things that I did not really understand, and then you kind of take it in. Of course, I want to make this as simple as possible, but you also have to use some terms not everybody understands, okay? And then without explaining everything all the time. So, and that's why you also need to do then your own research, which is important. Also, the removing of interference from twin flame relationships. All right. It's a big thing. It goes back literally to, I believe, as I see the androgynous form that we are originally in, and there is a core set of twin flames, okay, and that is also connected to kind of the 144 and the core monad, and them healing the codes and the wounds of separation and betrayal and all we've been through, okay, in whichever way that might be, all right, is what all of this is connected with. And this is why we've been so interfered with and had a lot of stuff to deal with. And people who understand us and know this understand me now, but it's, I'm going to talk about maybe on some other time. But ultimately, the interference is all being removed because it's ultimately when this is being healed with us, okay, it's Ascension Time because that's divine union. It's Heroes Gammas. It's a polarity integration. It's away from the distorted polarity. It's all interconnected. That's why we have so much freaking interference. Okay. So anyway, it's all been removed. It's all been removed. It's It's happening. I can feel it. I know it's hard to believe, okay, because we fought so many times, we've been there, but there's no such thing, I want to say at this point, as false hope, ever. Ever. What is false hope? What do you mean? Hope? Can hope be false? Well, if you lose hope, I mean, you might as well start, because there's not much left from life. I understand that people don't want to give their hopes up and be disappointed, but that's why you have to just detach. That's why you don't attach to any outcome, and then you don't get disappointed. That's new way of living, okay? So there's no such thing as false hope. There's also trusting in that it's already happened. It's all just about divine right timing and order. So then you really just have to relax whilst you still, one moment to the next, help to make it happen. Because again, it's done, but we also keep making it happen every one now moment. It's quantum and it's both, all right? But the general thing is relaxation, because that's when things come to us. You know, that's when we manifest. It's like, you know, if we try and hold on to it, if we want something really bad, can't come to us because we're, you know, kind of pushing it away. And the same as if we are, you know, afraid of something happening, that's also how we help manifest. So again, resistance and attachment is not the way. That's why the 0 point field and just celebrating whatever arises and just keep doing you, keep being creative, keep, you know, co-creating the new as much as you can whilst we go through the motions and everything else. Yeah, just know everything is this. Okay, nothing is separate from this. And we're already doing it and we're doing really great. And I hope we can all see now that the whole world is rising. Okay, at least enough of this. All right, I mean, the tables have already turned. It's just that, you know, the media is trying to show us something different, but even that is going to change. Okay, so again, try to think in a different way, try to override, say, okay, this is maybe how it is now, but this is how I think this could be going. Okay, so even though that guy is putting all these emergency orders in place, he doesn't have any backing, and it's literally imploding the whole thing quicker than it was already going. Yeah, do you see? So it's not that you're not trying to look or trying to pretend something is not happening. You're just changing the way you look at it, and then the thing you look at changes, because that's the whole thing. If you look at everything negative and expect the worst, you keep co-creating it. We need to really put a positive spin on everything and be very conscious about what we say, think, feel, believe in, and actions, of course, as well. But you get me, everything is projecting and co-creating our reality. I think I've been over this enough, so I'm not going to go into this again. Also, part of this is bringing peace to the gender divide as we come to divine union within and without. Hallelujah. Come on already. So powerful Trinity, tri-wave, 0 point, field codes, anchored and stabilized, activate within the field and ready for the final ignition and takeover of the new earth grids. So it is. So let's keep making it happen. We bring this on online within and without. I will probably leave it at this today. I have more notes, but then we'll be here forever. And I might just come online again. We'll see. Let me also know if you want to, you know, me to speak about anything specifically at this time, what you have any issues with, what you would like help with. Okay, just know again, now we transcend the paranoia also and the mass psychosis. Just picking up on some more notes here. Okay, as I mentioned before, really just know, like, the whole truth movement really has been hijacked. So just be aware of co-creating more conspiracies that might not, because all these lower timelines are literally collapsing. Okay, see that whatever's coming up, try and put a spin on it, on seeing how could this now be disclosed, because as I'm seeing it, I mean, the veils are coming down, it's all being exposed. It's all being exposed. Everything we've ever prayed for, it's all happening. Please, come on, let's celebrate. And don't shoot the messenger if they're celebrating. If you've been triggered by it, move on. Don't try and drag them down with you, all right? I'm sure most people are doing this unconsciously, but I can see it happening a few times now. One more thing, there are no enemies, only teachers and friends. The great I am. Okay, part of the whole letting go of resentments. The biggest assholes have been our biggest teachers, and I'm so grateful for them. And that's when we have healed everything. We don't have anger and resentment anymore. We might get, angry in a moment if someone oversteps their mark, but you know what I mean? We don't hold on to it. It just dissipates then, because that doesn't help anyone. Right? We transcend it, because ultimately it's a lack of understanding. Once we understand why everything is happening the way it is, why people are attacking us, and then that's just the way it is, because it's the lower consciousness that's trying to, act through them. It's their own unconscious. It's no one's fault. It's not your fault. It's not their fault ultimately, but, also tell them to not here, not with me. Okay, we need to be very clear now with what we're allowing and not allowing into our realities. And we need to say no to the lower frequencies and realities very clearly. We don't fight them, we don't resist them, but we say clear no, and we don't comply. Okay, with all of this nonsense. And we're done now. We're done. We just stand tall in that purity of frequency, and it collapses all of this lower realities and frequencies now at super extra quantum God speed. Okay. Super extra quantum God speed. All right. And also know, with all of the energies you're feeling, cut yourself some slack. Okay, we're feeling what a lot of people cannot feel. All right. So I know from my own work, I feel a lot of stuff, and because I can transmute it. I've trained for this for eons. It's exhausting, but we're almost done, and I can feel it already. Okay, and improving, because once all this interference and all these psychic attacks, all of this is wearing off, which is also making us feel so exhausted, part of it, as well as so much frequency being anchored. But once that is all lifted, any moment now, and it's already vastly lifted, we then have more energy free to actually live and create beautiful new things, instead of just shifting the shit. Like people like me, I know some who may be watching understand what I mean. So we're looking forward to that, and I can feel it coming online now. All right. But again, just keep going with the flow, and the easier that goes. And yeah, one more thing, just try not take things too seriously. I was saying to my mom the other day, because it was like, just sometimes, certain things. One last example. One of my things would be core wound, people not listening to me. Okay. So my mom brings this up very well, because I tell her things and it's like, she literally doesn't listen. And 10 minutes later, it's like, okay, I just said this and this. And it's like, it's a continuous thing. Okay. Anyway, many different reasons for it. Ultimately, it's not her fault. It's not my fault. Like, she's not doing it on purpose. It's not my fault. But we can try and find ways around it to maybe communicate better. Okay. But ultimately, this keeps going until I don't get triggered anymore. So the other day, it was something like, please, give me some space for an hour or so. And 10 minutes later, she's there rattling around. It's like, oh my God, it's such a clown show. And that's really what I had to break out. So either I get angry in that moment, get fully triggered again, even if it's for the millionth time, okay? Still, it will keep going until I don't get triggered anymore and I can laugh at it. And that's the key. If you have seen Monster Inc., the movie, where it's about the monsters kind of collecting basically loot from the kids by scaring them, okay? And then later on, it's all turned around and the kids are making them laugh and everybody kind of exists happily. But ultimately, it's the laughing is what collapses all of this, okay? So of course, this is serious. Believe me, I'm a serious person, okay? And there's a time for seriousness and there's a time for laughter. But ultimately, that joy is now what really anchors heaven on earth. That's the child, it's the creativity, that's the Trinity, okay? Once the masculine and feminine come together in divine union, they birth the divine child, which is our power, which is our creativity, and it's joy, and joy is love expressed. And that's obviously what we're after, okay? The realities now. So it's not about forcing joy, but it's about try and laugh at it, try and see it less seriously, because they're trying to traumatize you, they try to trigger you into having anger and fear and outrage, because that's what they feed off. If you laugh, they can't keep doing that game, okay? It just collapses everything. They can't do anything with you laughing at them. Actually, that's the one thing that would make them furious. If you want to talk about them and us, you know, but that level also exists, of course, it's both. Okay. Yes, we are all one, but they're also, you know, others and me, of course. I can't live my life for them, and everybody has to make their own decisions right now. And it depends then where they end up. So, you know, it's a big sorting out, but everybody will be okay. And, you know, we will see how it all plans out. Just trust the divine plan. It will all be revealed to us, as well as we are co-creating it in every now moment. This is why we can't say exactly when and how, but just know that it is, and that we can take an active part in making it happen, accelerating things with tips such as I have shared today and in many other videos and all of my writings. Okay. And obviously, as always, take what resonates, leave the rest. What works for me might not work for you or resonate with you, but a few things may. So remember the cosmic joke. That's when it gets fun. Okay. We are the avatar in the game. We're also co-creating and writing the program of the game. All right, now we're the programmers, so be very super conscious about your responsibility of what you're projecting onto the field. Okay, all of these reversals need to be re-reversed. We need to adjust the way we see things, which is also what happened with these activations. So just know that humor is what turns it all around. And also, you know, once you have overcome your triggers, you can see things from a more objective perspective. So next time you get triggered, just try and work through it, and then try and look again of what's actually happening. Because otherwise you will always be easily manipulated. Okay, when you can be easily triggered, you can easily manipulate it. And we want to be unfuckable with. All right. And that means that when a trigger comes, or gaslighting, or someone tries to invert things, we're like, I know, yeah, I'm not playing these games. Or we just turn it around, you know? That's what we need to. It's the same with the hijacking of fields. They used to hijack our fields all the time as mass meditation and so forth. I mean, whenever there's a freaking full moon or new moon, I usually need to go in before and after into the field, secure and clear up. Okay. And I'm also done with that, because a lot of distortions happening within the field, within these meditations and activations. So anyway, but we can also now, as with the Super Bowl, hijack the field with higher, you know, alignment, obviously with divine will. Okay. This is not from ego will. This is guidance. Okay. What I speak of. And then also with the agreement of the souls with, you know, in alignment with free and divine will. All right. To then hijack the whole field and the whole narrative. So that's what we're doing now. All right. We're re-reversing everything. So I leave it at that. Let us be the change we want to see in the world. Okay, whatever we see out there, try to take a moment and see where may I still be doing it? Okay, or where could I maybe add more of what I want to see more of in the field? Just be the change, be the frequency of love, of freedom, of abundance, of joy as much as you can, but also most of all, be true to yourself. You feel whatever you feel. You can't really get this wrong. Don't be afraid of failure, okay? Fortune favors the brave, all right? Especially now, we're not afraid to lose our livelihoods or work or money just because we're standing in our truth, or because we've been ostracized or whatever. And that is a freedom that, I mean, that's the ultimate sense of freedom, when you're not afraid anymore to be your true self and speak your truth at all times. And that's where we're getting it now. And I think you can see it. Okay, it's running out in the collective, and nothing is as it seems. Be open to surprises. Okay, imagine differently, keep co-creating the new of what you want to see, and it should all go much more easy. Okay, from day to day, better and better, moment to moment, not even days. Okay, just stay in the now and keep flowing. So thank you so much. I hope this helped. Love you guys, and I might see you in the activation, and otherwise another time. And again, it's 3 a.m. 33, free where I am on the 18th of February. I will post this now. I love you guys. See you next time. Bye. Many blessings.